Hey, it's Byron here from Behind the Scene. I'm on the phone to Dale Tanner of Ocean Grove. How are you, man?
I'm good, thanks, dude. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for being on the phone, being convenient. Being from Melbourne, how often do you get to come up to Brisbane? How often do you get to experience, the Sunshine State?
As of late, not too often. I mean, our last time was when we went up and played River Stage with Limp Bizkit, which was, one of the funnest shows I've ever played. And, we love going up there. We've got a really good fan base now in Brizzy. And before that was, part of our Rap Tea Tapes tour where we played the Woolly Mammoth. And again, that was the first show of the tour, and that set a really good precedent for the rest of the shows to come. And we love it up there. I've got a few close friends that live up there that always come to the shows, and that really makes it extra special. And it's just always a good fun vibe. So we don't get up there as much as we like, especially because we've been fortunate to say other places the last sort of 6 months. But the fact we get to come up for Dead of Winter is very exciting.
It's a stacked lineup. Like there's so many different bands from so many different places, different walks of life, different genres. Who are you most keen to play with and I guess to watch up there?
Probably, to be honest, Clowns is a big one. That's sort of a band that's kind of been around the same amount of time as us, and we're sort of from the same kind of hood. And we haven't really, even though we're kind of in the same world of music, we've never really played that many shows together. We both played Download Festival, and before that we played like Chelsea Skate Park back in, might have been 2012, at like this youth fest kind of thing. And we even spoke about that when we bumped into each other down there. We're like, I think that might even be the last time we played together. So, Clowns is definitely one that I'm, excited to share the stage with. They're a great bunch of dudes and really love their music. I guess, can't go past Frenzel Rom. Radio Moscow is a really big one. That's, really cool to be, having them on the lineup. And then, Polaris, good friends of ours, so it's always good to have them on board too. Deadlights, really sick band. So it's there's a lot there that I'm excited for. So.
Yeah, there's plenty of different bands for the different tastes. So what kind of other things are you looking to do while you're up there? Are you just staying for the 2 days and then?
I don't think we have anything planned as yet. That might change. But I think the plan was just to get up the day before, and we'll probably just lounge about. Like I said, we've got a few close friends up there, so we might just hang out. Nothing really planned. Sorry, I can't really offer much on that.
Well, that's all right. I'll just No, that sounds all right then. Yeah, just have a pretty chill weekend. I mean, that's coming up in just over a week, isn't it?
If it was, that's it. I know if it was sort of more the summer months. I mean, I'm not really sure what the weather might still be awesome being Brisbane, but I guess if it was more the summer months, we'd look to go out on a jet ski or something and do something fun. But it's very optimistic. We'll see how that goes.
I'll hold you to that, yeah. If I see you in the news, I'll be like, oh God, he told me he wasn't going to do anything.
That's it.
So I've got I guess an interesting question for you. Do you recall about 3 years ago one of those Facebook share posts for playing in Taree?
I do, yes, actually I do, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually one of my mates who organised that. So I figured if you've got anything to say on that, now would be a great time.
I think the response to that wasn't necessarily that we didn't want to do it. It was just that we wanted to wait for the right time to do it. We as a band have never actually done a regional tour off our own bat. Any regional tour has been as a support band, and we've had no say in where those shows are and where that tour goes. So when we get the chance to do a regional tour, which hopefully is fairly soon, considering now that we're able to sort of headline shows around Australia, we're lucky enough now to have a fan base in most places that we'd be able to actually pinpoint these places and that have come up over the years, like your Taree and your Warrnambool or your Mount Gambier and things like that. And up like we've played Cairns and Townsville a couple of times. We definitely go back there, and we'd love to go to Darwin and and things like that. So I think like I said, it wasn't a matter of like, we'll just discard that as being just a whatever idea. Like, we still value that as a very awesome opportunity to play Taree, but we just want to include it as part of a regional tour that we get going hopefully sometime soon.
No, that makes plenty of sense. I mean, that's so cool that you're actually still moderately considered it back then, even though it was obviously one of the coolest things ever to happen for us, having this potential of something sick coming. But yeah, I mean, if you were to do a regional tour, who would you want to take with you? I know it's a massive theoreticals, but is there any up and comers that you got your eye on, or any of the boys in the band have got their eye on?
Look, I think to be honest, we just hope we've always had a dream of just being able to like tour with our mates. So I guess the band's like the Beverly Chills, and we've got another band of mates, Public High, another band, Tony Dork. They're all sort of local Melbourne-based bands. And they don't necessarily fall into the scene that we've kind of grown up in as such, but at the same time, it's kind of like, who cares? Like, as long as we're on the road with mates and having fun, and there's a slight overlap, like it's rock and roll based, it's like, that's all that matters. So, so I'd say I'd probably go down that line of thinking, just because for the longest time that capacity to choose who we go with has been limited, and we've definitely already had the chance to put some up and coming younger bands that are in the heavier scene to give them a shot. Which was, even when we played Ringwood a few weeks ago, that was really great to put on a show in a I guess you could call that somewhat regional, not really, but in a sort of more of a local town, a town where we pretty much played our first few shows when we were growing up. To come back after a lot of touring and put that show on, and people turned out in the hundreds, and these support bands that we sort of put on were able to play in front of a nice big crowd in their local town, and paying that forward was a really big thing, and it's been great being able to do that. But I guess at the same time, we've never really been a little bit more selfish, and just wanted to sort of tour with our mates, which has been a dream of ours. So I think I think that's sort of the route we'd go with for a regional one.
That sounds cool. That sounds really ambitious, but at the same time, you keeping to your strengths and definitely giving the people what they want, and that's all you can really ask for from a band, especially at the level and capacity that you are. Like, you've got two really sick EPs, and then obviously the LP that came out beginning of last year. And I guess
Thank you.
That's okay. I mean, it's seriously, like, all my mates froth it. We play it a lot. Oh,
that's good. I'm glad.
I guess, are you writing anything new yet, or is it still too early to even speculate?
We are writing, we can definitely say that. As to when it's all going to come out, we're not really sure. We had a meeting last week. It was a very defining meeting, to be honest. It addressed a lot of things that we found ourselves coming to be very confused about. There was a lack of direction, and the sort of the collective compass was out of whack a little bit, in recent months when it came to writing and just where the band was headed. And this meeting was really great because we kind of let our feelings out on the table, and we let each other know, how we've been feeling post touring and like all that's come into play, and also what our feelings are towards the music that we have been writing, and whether that is still in line with the people we are now. We're no longer, when we wrote the Rhapsody tapes, that was close to 2 years ago, some of the music that we're writing. So we're different people now, and we need to be conscious of that in our writing. And I think some of the stuff that was being presented in the demos, like, didn't really match up with and it didn't really resonate with how we were feeling, and we're like, oh, this is a bit forced. Maybe we need to rejig our thinking around the sound of this next album. And it's really hard because with the Rhapsody tapes, I guess it was so diverse that not only, I guess, all of our fans, but ourselves as well, are kind of a little bit unsure as to the direction of this next album, which is exciting, I think to have that ability to kind of go every one of, many ways, is a great position to be in. But with that comes a whole lot more confusion and pressure, because we want to get that right, and I'm sure that when we follow our gut instinct, we will. But it's been an interesting last couple of months, kind of working all that out. But I'm really excited.
Yeah, well, everyone going to be listening to this will be very excited to just hear that it's been thought through so thoroughly. Like, it's not going to be Rhapsody Tapes Part 2. It's going to be, for sure. It's going to be really cool.
That was the biggest thing that came up. Was like, we don't. I think we owe it to our fans not just to give them a Rhapsody Tapes 2.0, it would be a bit of a spit in the face, to be honest.
I mean, we'd probably still froth it, but yeah, no, I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's showing diversity, and I guess, like, how have you found personally the reflection of Rhapsody Tapes, and then, like, even before that, reflecting on Black Label? Like, is it hard to reflect and see how much has changed, kind of the personal experiences? Does that come into play?
So, as in saying, like, not wanting to stray from certain sounds and wanting to kind of go
I guess,
back to
are you keeping your roots of the post-hardcore Oddworld music, or are you going to try to break the mold again in a different way?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. When you look back at, say, Black Label, which was a very angsty, very hardcore based, release, that, said a lot about the times and where we were at the time, and the music and our expression of how we were feeling was, it's all, and that is essentially all you can do. A record is called a record for a reason, and that's because it is a record of, a stamp in time of history and what's going on in that very moment. And I think to go against that is to go against the natural flow of music, and that's sort of the approach we're taking with this album, and probably every bit of music that we release in the future is to not dwell on the fact that, we've released music that sounds like that and is attached to that world. Like that doesn't keep us restricted. If anything, it frees us from the need to have to address that again, in a way, if that makes sense. We've sort of covered areas where we feel satisfied. We've got that off our chest, and with each release, we've kind of taken the approach of like a 50-50 type, perspective, where we'll take half of what we've done on the previous release and harness that and use that to our best capacity to, evolve and experiment with the new and find that blend. And that's essentially what the Rhapsody Tapes was. It was about finding those elements that we still found relevant from Black Label and introducing them into this new Oddworld type sphere that we had created. And again, with this new material, we look at the Rhapsody Tapes and we go, okay, that was a very diverse, very experimental release, more so than anything we had kind of done before. We also know that if we were to go ahead and do another album that was that diverse, it probably wouldn't have as much of an effect. So we kind of, again, need to go back and go, okay, what elements of that do we still resonate with going forward, and introduce that into a newer, more evolved sound, which is, I think, a bit more kind of compressed and not so out there. It'll still be out there, but I guess on the spectrum of sounds, I think we're going to try and bring everything in a little bit and really work on our strengths and make everything a bit more cohesive. So, it doesn't scare us to kind of be venturing into new territory and discarding the old, because that's kind of what we've always done, and I think we've set that precedent for our fans to come to expect that and almost want that, rather than, for us to stay the same. So.
Yeah, that was a really thorough and in-depth answer. You covered every single part. There was every single thing that was going on in my head. Hopefully he covers this, every single thing. You hit the nail on the head there.
Well, I'm glad I understood your question then.
Yeah, that was some very good communication skills on your part.
Thanks, mate.
I guess, what is one of the most unbelievable tour stories that you've got? Obviously you've been on a fair few over the past 6 or so years.
See, one that comes to mind, it's just sort of a funny story that I love telling people, was that when we were in Europe, we just wrapped up our final show playing the Slam Dunk Festivals, and we had to hit the road to make a ferry heading to mainland. So we're going from London, and then we had to go to mainland Europe, and we're catching a ferry, and the ferry was, we were due to be there at about 3 a.m. or something like that, and there was an after party after this last festival, and we were kind of hanging around, and we'd pushed time a little bit, so by the time we got to the van, we were kind of in a bit of a rush, and so we're going along this highway and kind of being observed all the time, we're going to make it, and then all of a sudden one of the tires blew, and we were like, oh no. What are we going to do? So we all go out. A few of us had been, having a few beers or whatnot. So we're and it's 1 a.m. we're not really prepared for this. And, so it's pitch black on the side of the highway, and we're like, oh, the car got a jack. So we look under the car, the front seat, and eventually find the jack. And it's this car jack that you'd find with a Hyundai Excel, this tiny little thing that we're like, well, that's all we got. We're just going to, just give it a go and put it under, and we try pumping this sort of, Sprinter we're in, up, and it's getting to a point, and then it's just kind of deflating again. And by this point we had already taken the wheel off, so we couldn't actually put it back on and take the jack off. So here we are in this position, we're like, oh, alright, so we actually can't do anything. So we're definitely going to miss our ferry, but let's call roadside assist and get them down. So we did that, and whilst we were waiting, we were just we're kind of getting bored. Well, how can we make a bit of fun with this situation? So I guess we fulfilled a bit of a childhood kind of dream. It's not really a dream, but just something that you always thought would be fun to do as a kid. And we just stood on the side of the highway, and we were just mooning every truck that came past. So for what began as pulling our pants down, we started to get really creative with it, and we were doing kind of relay races, each with our pants down, or crouching down, with our clothes kind of covering ourselves, and at the last minute kind of jumping up and just exposing ourselves. And our sound guy invented what we call the cock chopper, which I'm sure you can put your mind to what that is. And just doing this in front of every truck that came past, and it was just I'd never laughed so hard on tour, I don't think. Half an hour of just doing that whilst we waited. And even when the roadside assist guy came, he was doing his thing, and like we'd have one person just like with their ass out, like behind him, kind of just like watching on what he was doing. And then as he drove off, we all like all 7 or 8 of us all pulled our pants down to go to toot as he was driving off. So
he copped it too.
He copped it too. Yeah, we weren't letting him sit. So
that's insane.
so yeah, that's a good fun little memory. So
guess you keep that pretty close to your heart.
Ever stuck on the side of a highway, it's not all bad. You can always have a bit of fun with it. So
I'll keep that in mind next time I break down or have a flat, just to
definitely
make use of the time by mooning everyone.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. I guess one more is Running Touch going to be appearing in the new record? Or
yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
That's cool. Just
sure.
a fan favorite, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's because he's definitely involved in the writing of our music, and we like to. That's just kind of like a little bit of it's another edge that gives our music, that unique Ocean Grove spin that it has, is that we can have these people from other worlds come in, and
it's like breaking the fourth wall. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's not that far fetched to have someone from an electronic world come in and sort of take part in a heavier or rock type song, So it's about bringing those worlds together and making people realize that, oh, hey, like music is just music. Just because I just listen to rap or I just listen to whatever, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to like music from this other world. And breaking down those barriers has always been another dream of ours. So to kind of slowly do that is it's good fun.
Oh, that's so cool. It's so good seeing bands like yourselves and Drag and Ival kind of manipulating and messing with what you take for granted, like just
the status quo.
Yeah, definitely. And that's wicked. Just a little bit more enlightened myself now after this chat, so I'm going away happy. I hope you've
good, mate. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
That's good. Thank you again so much for taking time and talking to me.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It was good chatting.